Jeff
Hey,
Pearlman, welcome to the show. Mad
thanks
Max
for having
Radio, Live 365, iHeartRadio, New York Times best-selling author, sports writer. Jeff Pearlman is here, ladies and gentlemen. How's everything going?
me. Is that a kid in play photo I see hanging up there?
Yeah, it is.
Love it. Love
Yeah.
it.
I see your Tupac picture in the background too.
That was a jigsaw puzzle that we put together.
Oh, that's fire.
Yeah, and I glued it together. Yeah, thank you. And you're wearing the Knicks hat. Your team
Yeah,
wearing
yeah, yeah,
pretty good team right there.
yeah. I heard that you used to be, well, we're gonna get into a little bit of that, but you grew up a Nets fan.
I did. That has not worked out that well for me. Can't lie. Hasn't been the best. I I mean, I grew up. You know what? Not that you would care, but I was a big Pearl Washington was their point guard when I was young, and his my last name Pearlman. His nickname was a Pearl. I thought that was cool, and now I'm stuck being a Nets fan and a Jets fan. So
I'm a Jets fan, so I share the pain
bad.
with you there.
So bad. It's just the worst.
They're horrible. I
Oh my
just
God, it's so bad.
do you think because I mean we're gonna get into the book, that's the main topic, but do you think they're the worst franchise ever? Because there's been people that have been saying it, which is crazy because the Browns have had more recent success with going to the playoffs recently with Baker Mayfield, Joe Flacco. Do you think the Jets are the worst franchise ever?
The thing is, the Jets have been to a Super Bowl. Granted, it was before either of us was born. The
Name if.
Browns never have, and
Hmm.
the Lions haven't. We're giving the Lions recent love, but they've never been to a Super Bowl either. So they're in the running. They're certainly in the running. It's brutal, especially considering they're in New York, so they're in a major market, and uh, it's, I mean, it's so bad. It sucks.
They're horrible. I just gangrene. They're rotten. What can you
There's
say?
no joy to it. That's the biggest problem being a Jet fan. There's no joy. It's all self-mutilation. You're basically a Jet fan because you've always been a Jet fan. Like, no, there's no logical reason to decide to continue to be a Jet fan, except in this weird sports universe we have, you can't change allegiances. So I'm
Hmm.
just stuck with this garbage.
And that's all it is, just a bunch of garbage.
That's all it is. It sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, and it's amazing how you brought up you saw the kid and play picture. There's a picture in the background that I wanted to talk about, in which you were would you were able to do some research for the book with Tupac when he's famously spitting on the media. Did you get to do any background research for this? Because I was reading your book, and we're going to get
Uh,
into this book in detail, but I wanted to
yeah.
talk about this infamous picture.
Yeah. So it's interesting because Yasmin Fula was a former Black Panther who was very close with his mother and wound up actually handling his business affairs when he was with Death Row. And Yasmin is in the back. You can actually, I don't know if in the picture you have, but in the video you can see her. And she told me, so that's in New York City, leaving the courthouse. And she said to Tupac, just walk to the car, just get in the car, don't do anything. And the paparazzi are all shooting, and he starts walking up to him, spitting on him. And I actually interviewed, I think it was the Post or Daily News photographer, who said Tupac literally said to him, I'm not spitting on you, I'm spitting on what you represent. And which isn't really true because you are literally spitting on me also. So you're kind of doing both, buddy. Yasmin is in the background. You could hear him one of the videos going, no, Tupac, no, no, don't do it. But he was kind of an impulsive guy. So he just goes along and he spits on a bunch of people. So it is what it is. Yeah, I have
Hmm.
that photo in the book. I actually use that because in color, you probably have it in black and white back there. He's wearing a
Yeah, black and
Detroit,
white.
he's wearing a red Detroit Red Wings jersey. I don't think he knew a thing about hockey, but he liked hockey jerseys. He had a Devils one too. So
Yeah, he was a big Jersey guy. I know that he
very
even
big
got
jersey guy.
killed in a jersey.
Wait, what jersey was he wearing? Oh, no. Yes, he was wearing an Orlando Magic jersey. You're right.
Mhm.
He also at one point wore uh, Jeff Capel was a former Duke point guard. He's now the coach, I think, at Pitt. And Tupac wore a number 5 Capel jersey, Duke Capel jersey. And I actually interviewed Jeff Capel because I was curious what he thought about Tupac wearing his jersey. And he said he saw it at the time and thought it was like the coolest thing ever, but also confusing. Like, why is he wearing my jersey? I don't really know why he's wearing it. Good for me. It's cool for me. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna get right into this. Only God can judge me. The many lies of Tupac Shakur. And has this reached the best time sellers in New York yet? Has this reached? Is it close?
Well, it did make the New York Times list. So it's weird. It is my best-selling book first week. So
Hmm.
that's good. It all, honestly, this is way too nerdy of a thing for you. It really depends with the list, when your book comes out and what else is coming out at the same time. Um, Usually the sales I had, I sold little in excess of 8,000. So usually that gets you on the list. I just happened, I guess, to enter Eric Trump, God help us,
Oh God.
Michael J. Fox, Matthew McConaughey, a bunch of guys, same new books at the same time. So what can you do?
Hey, no,
Okay.
yeah, it's definitely been a good read just reading this and
Thank
just
you.
the beginning of it when you get right into Brenda's Got a Baby. So what made you start off the book like this? Because it really that's what captivated me right into the book was reading in detail of you being with Brenda's baby.
Yeah. Um, all right. So I think we live in an era, and I'm sure you see it, and I definitely see it, where it's very quick. Everything is quick, and everything is 20-second videos and swipe. I've lost interest. Swipe. I've lost interest. 3 seconds, 3/10 of a second. I do feel like you need to grab people's attention early.
Hmm.
I've always felt that with books, even before this era. Like you open with the story that kind of combines to make the reader say, "Whoa, holy crap!" and also shows your own reporting chops. That this isn't just an ordinary book. That someone put a lot of time and effort into it. And I thought finding the baby from the Brenda's Got a Baby, the baby who inspired the song, I thought was kind of a cool way of doing it. So
Hmm. It definitely was the hook to get everyone reading this book, and it's amazing how you were able to reunite him with his mother,
yeah,
and just the whole story of him being on the set of Juice. It really is it's crazy when you look at you would have never known that this kid who was just an up and coming hip hop star and even actor because he really had so many lives, and that's basically the focal point of the book. He was able to tell the story that's impacted people for so many years and you brought it to life. What was your introduction to Tupac as an artist? Because you grew up a hip hop fan, Big Daddy
hmm
Kane. I mean, you
hmm
liked Hall and Oates, but you liked hip
nothing wrong
hop.
with Hall and Oates. Don't shit on Hall and Oates.
No, I'm not gonna do that. But
Okay.
you're hip hop because you were the type of guy you were from rural New York,
Yep.
Mayopac.
Mhm.
You had a black friend in class who introduced you a lot to Public Enemy, the hip hop actor going on at that time. So, what was your intro to Tupac?
Well, wait, that sounds kind of like so basically my graduating high school class was 330 kids and there were only two black kids in the entire class.
Hmm.
And it's all like a little bit of a cliche, but like one of them happened to be my best friend, Jonathan Powell, and he really introduced me to hip hop and got me into hip hop.
Hmm.
Tupac, I remember when Tupacalypse Now came out because I was in college. And when you worked at the student newspaper at the University of Delaware, you get all these demos of cassettes and CDs because they wanted to get attention. And Interscope sent the University of Delaware Review a copy of Tupacalypse Now. I remember hating the name of it, like just being like, wait, what is this? And also finding the whole two just kind of annoying. And I also remember, to be honest with you, not loving that album, but I remember being hooked by Brenda's Got a Baby. And I just
Hmm.
thought it was a great song. I think in hindsight, most Tupac fans would say it's not. It's certainly not Tupac's best album,
Hmm.
but it was kind of a cool start for a 19-year-old kid. So me hearing Brenda's Got a Baby at the University of Delaware as a freshman was my introduction to Tupac.
What were your thoughts on the sophomore album, Strictly?
I don't like it. The funny
Mm,
thing is he didn't like it either. Basically, I mean, I think I Get Around is an awesome, awesome, maybe
absolutely.
it's one of the rare songs. I got to say, I have a kid who's in college, and every now and then I'll say to him, if they played fill in the blank song, would this still get people dancing, right? And I'll be like, Jump Around by House of Pain. Not really. Getting Jiggy with It by Will Smith, no chance. Ice Ice Baby, definitely not. I Get Around, yes. Like I Get Around kind of holds up. There's something about it sonically, lyrically that holds up. But that album came out after Ice-T had an album with like a thrash metal band called Body Count and
Hmm.
it had a song on it called Cop Killer. And that song got just absolutely destroyed by mainly white politicians in America, including the President of the United States and the Vice President of the United States. Tupac had this album, and it was ready to go, and it had 12 tracks, mostly produced by a guy named DJ Darrow out of San Francisco, out of Oakland. And after the Cop Killer controversy, Interscope came to him and said, no, 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 no. And basically, he had to scrub the album, scrub the tracks, do it again. And it's a lot of like scraps and kind of stuff he wasn't in love with. He even changed the name. It was supposed to be Troublesome 21. He changed it to Strictly for My N-word in a lot of ways to give a middle finger to all these people who are telling him what album you can make and what album you can't. It's my least favorite Tupac album, to be totally honest with you.
Hmm. Wow. Yeah, I like that album. Keep Your Head Up came from that album.
Yeah,
He has some hits off it though.
yeah, yeah. He did. No doubt about it.
Just not your
We all
personal
have our
favorite.
favorites and our least favorites. It's not my favorite. I think, it's fine.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, and I definitely for me, what would you say is your favorite Pac album?
It's definitely All Eyes on Me.
All Eyes on Me, the
I
double
know it's a
album.
cliche. I know like the funny thing is I think a lot of people, you know how like in music or in sports or whatever, it's like cool to give a first certain answer.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's sort of like, oh, you must really know. I feel like most people say Me Against the World. I do think Me Against the World is a great album that came out when he was in prison, made number one, has Dear Mama on it, obviously great. And in a way to say All Eyes on Me makes you sound not like a big Tupac fan because it's such an obvious answer. I just think the production of that album is insane. I think Suge Knight, for all the negatives, like put every ounce of money he needed to in that album, as far as producers, as far as just creators, collaborators with him. I just think soup to nuts. It has some strays, but overall, it's a great album.
Hmm. I agree. Double album, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think the more I get older, I really love Machiavelli, the Don Illuminati
sure.
Seven Day Theory. That album is, whew,
Oh, I don't understand how any boxer anywhere in the world doesn't enter the ring to Hail Mary.
yeah.
I just think it's an odd. You know who did it? Creed in the movie Creed. He walks in for the champion
Oh,
side to Hail Mary. It's a great scene.
it is.
I mean, that song is just, I mean, it's so good. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, the guy had a lot of great music. There's no doubt about it.
No, yeah. I think my favorite off that album, especially the times that we're living in now, is White Man's World. That was
Oh,
the, yeah.
I feel like a lot of people say White Man's World. And people who really love Tupac. I think another one is from Above the Rim. There's a song Pain. That's a
Pain, yeah, for the
great,
soundtrack.
it's a great
It
song.
is.
I will say one thing about Tupac. You may disagree. I feel like the more I listened to him, the more I got into him, the more I studied his music, the less I enjoyed like features on his albums. Like, for example, like Only God Can Judge Me. Rappin' Forte has a feature on the album.
Hmm.
And I used to really like it. I just think in the way kind of this happens with J. Cole when he does features on other artists' albums, I feel like he's so good that you almost want to hear him instead of the artist he's doing a song with. And with Tupac, there are times when I'm kind of like, okay, I just want to hear Tupac. I don't really want to hear you. You know? I don't know. It makes me kind of an asshole, but I do feel that way a lot.
No,
I
I
just,
agree. I like when artists who are really talented, like Tupac and J. Cole, I don't need to hear all these 20 features. I want to just hear you. And it's
yeah.
kind of like when you look at Got My Mind Made Up, that song by Tupac on All
Yeah.
Eyes on Me. I don't need all these features. I don't need it.
He does that a lot. You know, he has the Outlaws on a lot of songs. And like,
Mhm. Like Hit 'Em
Outlaws are
Up, he
really
had all the
nice.
Outlaws on there.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, yeah, it's good. Or like the Thug Life album. I love the Thug Life album. Thug
Oh
Life
yeah.
album is a great album, but Interscope wasn't really into it, in part because they were like, why are you going to share the mic with four other guys?
Hmm.
And I do think when I listen to Thug Life, some of the songs, I'm like, I kind of understand what they're saying. Like these
Yeah.
guys just aren't. Tupac is it's like having like a soccer team with David Beckham and then a bunch of like Division One players.
Hmm.
Like he's just too good for them. And I do feel like Tupac is too good of a rapper for a lot of the people who appear on albums with him. It's my
He
honest opinion.
is.
Yeah.
I know you wrote the book on him. I believe he's the greatest of all time. I think he's the face of hip hop. Would you agree? Do you think he's the greatest of all time?
I mean, I would.
Hmm.
I didn't want to even mean that to sound delay. Of course I would. There are arguments to be made for
Hmm.
others. I don't think there's a Biggie argument. I know people make that argument. I don't see it.
Yeah.
I think there's a Kendrick Lamar argument. I think there's a Jay-Z argument. There's probably an Eminem argument. I don't subscribe to it, but I really like Eminem.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can do. I think the thing about Tupac, honest to God, I've gone back to this a lot, but it's my to me, it's my thing. Like Shock G said, like from Digital Underground was like, a lot of rappers rap from the nose and rappers rap from the mouth but Tupac rapped from the stomach. And
Mhm.
like there was this thing about him. You know what I mean? Like, don't you know what I mean? It's like this almost guttural thing that he had in his music where he wasn't just telling stories. He was like spitting life, pain, and lessons. And I just think it's hard. DMX had that, certainly.
Mhm.
Tupac had it, but not that many other guys or women have that kind of spitting their pain into music. I really love that about him.
He was raw and authentic, and
Very
that's
raw.
just everything that we got from him. Did you? What was the last time? Did you get to speak with Young Noble before he passed?
I spoke with young Noble, but it was not a happy conversation. He
Oh
was
boy.
here's what happened. No one's asked me this. That's actually funny. Asked me that. He said he would do an interview, and then he kind of blew me off. Now, for all I know, he was going through serious health problems,
Mhm.
and I
Rest
didn't
in
know.
peace. Hmm.
Right, of course. Um, and I reached out to him. I didn't hear back from him, and I might have texted him like something a little frustrating, like, "Are we going to talk, or is this?" And he basically like cursed me out, and that was it. And
No,
that's
but this is what comes with the territory. I know, like, trust me, I've gone through my own negative situations with people. There's people like, yeah, I'll do it, and then I don't know, the energy just shifts. I don't get it.
yeah. And
What
also,
happens in our world?
Well, my dad always used to say also, like, you don't know what someone's going through in their own life. So, like, to me, why am I getting blown off by this guy? Well, it turns out he probably had serious health problems and
Mhm.
had bigger worries in his life than an interview with some guy's never heard of.
Yeah.
So, like, I probably handled it poorly. He was probably in a bad place. It is absolutely horrible, horrible, horrible that he passed away. And I wish I had gotten the chance to talk to him.
Man. Yeah, and a lot of just the outlaws have passed away. I think Napoleon's like one of the only ones left.
Yeah. Well, I was on Idi Amin's podcast the other day.
Hmm.
That was
Yeah.
cool. That was cool. That was good. He wouldn't talk to me for the book, but then he wanted me on his podcast. And I was like, all right. And he was cool, actually. He was good.
Yeah.
He was tough but fair.
Yeah,
So,
he I know he was going over with you. I know with the allegation that you put
mhm,
into the book and things
mhm.
like that, and just the videos that were going viral that you even apologized for and things like that. And I saw
Mhm.
that, and it was fair. I think it and it's just crazy when you look at just Tupac's whole life and to start off in the beginning with this book with Brenda's Got a Baby and you reunite the real story is that it happened in Vegas right around where
Yep.
Tupac was killed.
Yeah, it's bonkers. And the funny thing is, when he told me the story, or not when he told me the story, actually, when it happened, I didn't actually in the moment make the connection like, holy crap, this is all happening in Vegas. I was more blown away that mom happened to be in Vegas and he lived in Vegas and they connected. And then maybe a day or a few two later, I was like, whoa, like it's actually even more crazy because Tupac died in Vegas. So there's this whole Vegas connective tissue that runs through the whole sad and sordid story of Tupac and sort of Brenda and his death and everything like that. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Tupac, it's just there's so many layers to this story when we look at Tupac into his time and Clinton, because you really went in the deep in this book and even
Yeah.
interviewing his classmates, and he was the type to pick up a ladybug and put it to the side. That was
I love that quote. It's my
yeah.
favorite quote from the book. I love that so much. Yeah.
And it really encapsulates who he was as a person, and that he had so many different feelings inside of him that people saw, and then people were like, oh yeah, this Pac. And I think it comes with the whole territory of the Juice persona. Some people think, okay, when he acted in Juice, they think he took on that lifestyle
Yeah.
in full. Do you kind
Yeah.
of think that there was something there, especially with his other roles? Do you think he was seeking out like Above the Rim and all these roles that put him in that persona per se?
First of all, I want to say there was a great writer before your time and kind of before my time named Russell Baker.
Mhm.
And one time he was talking about writing, and he was talking about how it's very important every once in a while to have the villain. He was talking about villains. Tupac's not a villain, but the villain bend over to smell a rose, like to have these tender moments that show who someone is, and that we're not just one dimension. We're not just good, bad, villain, hero, right? We have
Mhm.
multiple. A villain smelling a rose does that beautifully. And I think Tupac with the ladybug really shows his tenderness and
Mhm.
like that he was that kind of guy. Um, okay. As far as Juice, it's kind of a mystery of it all. And I think it's definitely too easy. I think a lot of times there's this like almost cliche, like, well, he became bishop and blah 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 blah. I think he put a lot of what he learned. He moved to Marin City after his junior year of high school.
Mhm.
And Marin City in Northern California is where he lived is called the Jungle. It's public housing. It was the crack epicenter of California. And his mom becomes a hardcore crack addict. And Tupac is really homeless. He's bouncing around from place to place. He's not living with his mom. His mom, who's his hero, is his... And what he does is he starts studying. He's writing hip hop and he's writing raps, but he's really writing them from this Baltimore, New York sensibility, which was much more Black Panthers, UEP Newton, Malcolm X, lessons of our Black forefathers and foremothers. And he goes to Marin City and he realizes what people really want and what I need to start doing is rapping about the streets, rapping about what I see in front of me, rapping about crack dealers, rapping about gangbangers, rapping about this, telling their stories, even if it's not specifically my story. And I think when he was bishop, he took all of these lessons he was learning in Marin City, some of which he saw, some of which he heard about, and he baked them into bishop. And he
Mhm.
made that bishop. I definitely think he liked the feel of bishop, and he was a kid who wanted respect. He was a kid who like was a drama kid a lot of times who didn't get that much respect. And he moves here and he likes his feeling. And one of his friends from Marin City told me, Ryan D, a rapper, told me after Tupac gets back, after filming Juice, he got paid 16,000 for the movie. And he comes back with a wad of bills and a gun tucked in his waistband. And he said to me, that was never Tupac. Like Tupac wasn't that guy. And I did see that switch when he played Bishop. So there definitely was a change.
Hmm.
Now, I know it's a long answer, but I wouldn't say he sought out those roles. I think what happened a lot back then, and still certainly happens now, is especially for young black actors and actresses, you get typecast very easy.
Mm.
Oh, he's a pimp, he's a drug dealer, he's a gangbanger, she's a prostitute, she's a single mom with blah blah blah, she's a hairdresser. Like there was this thing. And I think for Tupac, yes, in Poetic Justice, he got to play Lucky, the postal worker, but it was hard for him to break out of what people thought of him, the thug who's going to play the gangbanger. He's going to play Bishop over and over and over again. It might be Birdie and Above the Rim, but he's going to play that similar role. So it's hard for him. I think he would have, but it's hard for him.
And you mentioned birding above the rim. That role is just so gritty. Like when you look at it, especially
Yeah,
when he kills Bernie Mac, he says recognized, and then even in Juice Riverside, he just has these one-liners in his films before he
yeah.
kills someone. It's really visceral. And going back to the Ladybug quote that was in your book, that was the poetic justice side of him when
But
I
I
look
don't even
at it.
think yeah. I mean, I think he was a really good actor.
Hmm.
I don't mean that snidely in the way people say, oh, he was a phony. I mean, literally, he was a really good actor.
Hmm.
I interviewed Jim Belushi, who was with him in Gang Related.
Hmm.
Belushi said he was one or two movies from an Academy Award. I don't disagree at all. I think every movie he's in, I think you can make an argument he was never in a great movie. Like Juice was an important movie,
Hmm.
and Poetic Justice was a widely seen movie. I don't think he was in a great movie, but I always think he was the greatest part of some mediocre to okay movies. Like he is the best part of Juice. There's no doubt about
Oh
it.
yeah.
He's the best part of Poetic Justice, no doubt about it.
Bullet.
Yeah, I mean, Bullet's not a good movie, but
No,
he is the best. And he's in, there are two Academy Award winners. Mickey Rourke is in that, and Adrian Brody's in that.
that's
Tupac's the
right.
best guy in that movie. He's with Timothy Roth in Gridlocked. He's the best part of that movie. Roth is great, but he's the best part. And Gang Related, him and Belushi are really good with each other. Tupac is amazing in that movie. He just was never in a great movie, but I think, he really did himself wrong by beating up Alan Hughes on the Menace to Society set because I think he set his own career back more than he realized. And Alan Hughes, when I interviewed him, said it. He said, like, it's hard enough being a young black actor getting shots. When you get a reputation of being disruptive, or in this case, violent, and you beat up the director of your movie, how are you going to get James Cameron or Steven Spielberg to call you? How's that going to happen? And I think he set himself back a certain degree, and he wound up being in some okay movies, but movies with definite holes in them. You know your stuff? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, he should have been in that movie. And
Yeah.
like the thing about Tupac also, again, this is from research, this isn't me telling anyone anything, is like he was stubborn and he was headstrong. I mean, that's no secret. And he was like convinced he was right. And if he was convinced he was right, he was right. And like he was being a pain in the ass in the table reads for Menace to Society.
Hmm.
Factually, he was. He was being a pain in the ass. And he got fired from the movie and he was pissed about that and he was probably embarrassed about it. And instead of like I don't know, like a normal person would take a few days and just apologize. You know what, man? I'm sorry. I would love another shot. If not, hopefully we can work together down the road. Like that's how you salvage a career. You don't salvage a career by beating up the director. It just doesn't work.
No, it's
What?
unfortunate. It would have made Menace to Society even bigger than what it was with having a minute, even though it
I
was a really
agree.
successful movie. And
Yep.
it's unfortunate. There was a story too that this connects to sports and hip hop. With my show, what I do, Michael Jordan and Tupac. I've read some things online. I don't know how much you were able to gauge off this, where Tupac criticized Michael Jordan for not coming down, speaking out about issues, and playing with the inner city kids. He's like he's not afraid to go out there and play with all the white kids in the suburbs. He kind of threw that out there, and then Michael Jordan supposedly clapped back at him and said he's just a common thug. Did you ever look into this or find anything out about this?
I'm not saying you're wrong at all. This is literally the first time I've heard that even come up.
Wow.
The other one is the Michael Jackson fight that comes up all
Okay,
the time.
yeah, that's not true.
Definitely not. There are a
Oh.
lot of not truths. There's so many not truths about Tupac. Michael Jordan, I never heard from anyone, but I'm not saying it. I guess it could be true.
Hmm.
I don't. I never heard it though. It would surprise me being in that era. Michael Jordan basically treated everything like this, like he never really engaged in shit talk with outside.
Hmm.
It'd shock me if he was like talking trash about Tupac. I mean, maybe it's possible. I never saw
Hmm.
it.
The main thing that makes me believe it
Mhm.
with Jordan is that you've heard things that he says F rap music, and there were some things with Chameleon Air. He turned him down for taking a picture with him, and there's so many crazy stories. Noriega hearing him say F rap at a Def Jam
But
party.
he was in a Heavy D video.
He was. I think there were
Damn.
certain artists. I feel as though Michael Jordan only associates with certain hip hop artists that are a certain tier. Where Jay-Z, even though he's come from that life, he's a billionaire. He's got all this money. I feel
I
as
know,
though if
but
you're
Jay-Z wasn't Jay-Z. Oh, you're saying post NBA because Jay-Z back in this era wasn't Jay-Z yet. Like he
no,
wasn't
yeah, I think
Jay-Z.
post now, when you see
Yeah.
this, I think he hangs out. He only associates himself with hip hop artists that have a lot of money. That's what I feel as though because
I have
Michael Jordan, he's never
literally,
really been outspoken about issues. Republicans buy sneakers. He's never
yeah.
really been outspoken about real issues.
I'm gonna be the ultimate journalist here and say I just don't know.
You just don't.
Instead of guessing, I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I've never written about Michael Jordan. I never interviewed Michael Jordan. I know about the Republicans buy sneakers too, although someone told me that's not actually a true quote. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know his relationship with hip hop. I know he was in Jam by Heavy D with Michael Jackson in the video too. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
not a great song. Not a great Michael Jackson song.
no, I agree. But with Tupac doing so much research here, connecting with so many people, I know the allegations we already cleared that up. Do you feel as though, because journalism perspective, I feel as though you have to lay it all out there, but even because I know with the criticism, you cleared it up on the podcast and things like that. But do you feel as though, even though it wasn't proven to be true, like the one with Clinton, I get he went to jail for, even though if you agree that he didn't do it or he did do it, I don't think he did it. But with the allegation that is so rare that we didn't hear about, do you feel as though they you could have left that out of the book because he wasn't, even though there was a police report, I understand that. But do
Mhm.
you think you could have left that out of the book because there was nothing, there was no conviction? It was kind of just it's a police report, nothing further.
You read the book, right?
Hmm.
Okay. So could I have left it out? Of course. I
Hmm.
can. You're the quarterback of your own book. You can do whatever
Yeah.
you want with your own book. To me, the difference was there were a couple of reasons I used it, included it. Number one, you did have this incident that happened 4 months later, literally 4 months later. So
Mm.
it's not a random accusation that has no moorings to anything else. Like that's just a fact.
Hmm.
Number two, I had it verified, like it wasn't a fake police report. It wasn't blah blah blah. Number three, I reached out to the other person who was accused, who's named in the report. That person did not respond. But number four, most important, is I interviewed the woman who literally filed the police report, spent hours with her on the phone. And I just don't know how, I'm being serious, I don't know how any journalist writing a book about Tupac and a major moment in his life is going to prison for sexual battery for a alleged happenstance where people he was with were involved. And you have another accusation where people he was with were allegedly involved. I just don't know journalistically how you leave that out. Now, also, something that never comes up, but at least you read the book. I start that chapter literally with one of Tupac's relatives
Hmm.
telling the story of Tupac with these two women and Tupac instructing the one woman to give his cousin a blowjob.
Yeah.
So, and I know like no one brings it up. Literally, no one brings it up when they say, "Oh, you're making stuff up." Well, you can talk to the person I interviewed. He told me
Hmm.
that story. I have it on tape. I didn't make it up. So, like, I understand. I understand when someone is dead,
And
you know,
they can't defend themselves. That's the thing.
they
Yeah.
can't defend themselves. I understand that.
Hmm.
But like, so are we never, you know, are we never writing about people who are deceased? Are we never, should we not write a Martin Luther King biography and include infidelity? Should we not talk about John F. Kennedy having an affair with Marilyn
Marilyn
Monroe?
Monroe. Hmm.
Should we not talk about different things that politicians did that were tough or scandalous or blah, blah, blah once they're deceased? Because, oh, we can't, like, in a way, I kind of, this is not probably going to come off the right way, but I'll try to say it journalistically. Why, when people pass, are we not allowed to talk about their legacy? Like, who actually wrote that? In fact, isn't it okay to talk about people's legacy, to dissect their legacy? To people talk trash about athletes all the time when they're dead or alive. People talk trash about musicians all the time when they're dead or alive. People talk about things. You weren't there for R. Kelly. That's not a good example, but like you weren't there for what R. Kelly did or what so and so did. If a new report came out tomorrow about R. Kelly and someone filed charges against him, everyone would be all over it. We don't
Hmm.
know that that happened. I'm just saying we like there's something about the love of Tupac, which I understand because I have it as well, that causes people to say, well, you can't, that's not cool. And to me, he's a complicated figure. He's a detailed figure. He's a
Hmm.
textured figure. And I wanted to write a full story about it. And I understand why there's backlash. It would be a lot easier for me to promote this book having never used that. But journalistically, I wouldn't have done that.
Hmm. I look forward to this Donald Trump book that you'll write someday, maybe.
I'd rather shoot myself with 1,000 poison darts than
We
devote
need the
3 years of my life.
we need everything out
I
there.
think we know everything. That's the worst part about it.
Yeah.
We know everything. He's a scumbag. He's a piece of shit. He cheated on one wife with another, with another, with another. It doesn't matter. People don't
Yeah.
care. Yeah.
Hmm. The Epstein Island stuff. Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, it's
Well,
crazy. It's unbelievable. That's the times where, and I agree with you from that perspective. And you bring up R. Kelly because it's so important. What are your thoughts on cancel culture? Because I feel from a journalistic perspective, you have to acknowledge the accusations, the cases, but canceling someone that contribute a lot to music is also.
but what does that even mean? Like, I know what cancel culture means technically, but like,
Mhm.
okay, if R. Kelly did these absolutely heinous acts, right? I don't think it's cancel culture if he ever gets out of prison to say, I don't want you playing in my club. Like, I think that's logical. Like, why do I want a rapist playing in my club, right? Where I thought it went too far, and I actually did it for a little bit. I remember after all this happened, I was like, all right, I'm taking ignition off my phone. Taking ignition off my phone and world's greatest off my phone or off my phone. Why? Like, you can enjoy the song. You're allowed to enjoy the song. Michael
Mhm.
Jackson did a lot of really creepy things, clearly.
Mhm.
I can still enjoy Billie Jean. Tupac, he was no choir boy. I can still listen to Hit 'em Up or whatever and enjoy the music. But I don't think it's like, I don't know. I think cancel culture, the term itself, is thrown a lot around a little bit too much. Like, I am allowed to say this person, like, I don't want to buy, I don't want to stay in a Donald Trump hotel. I would never stay in a Donald Trump hotel again because I think he's a ruinous, poisonous scumbag of a man.
Mhm.
That's not me canceling him. I'm choosing not to stay in his hotel because fuck him.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that. I think it's crazy, and yeah, you got to boycott some things. And you're right about the Trump in the hotel. Yeah, can't stay there. I know there's a lot of athletes that have. I don't know why, but it is what it is. But this book, it's heavy in the details. The I love reading about your experience of getting to read all those letters, the love letters with Mary. I think that
Yeah.
was amazing. So many letters. Why do you think Tupac never really settled down? Do you think because he never had a kid? Do you think that this incident with him going to jail had made him have trust issues with women, and that kind of sets a seed in there where he didn't want to have a kid right away? Is there something there to that, you think?
I mean, so he did actually, he had a girlfriend who was pregnant at one point and she had a miscarriage, which is in the
Hmm.
book, but that wasn't an intentional pregnancy. I think he was 25 years old and enjoying life.
Hmm.
Like Tupac clearly wasn't ready to be like, I'm going to stay home and live with, you know, like, yeah, I mean, he probably would have married. He was engaged to Kadada when they,
Kadada Jones.
yeah, so Quincy's daughter. So maybe they would have had a kid and had a happy life and he would have been a movie star and he would have lived in Hollywood and it's certainly possible. But people forget he was 25 years old. I wasn't ready to get married at 25.
Hmm.
You know, we married at 25.
No, I'm 25 and I'm not
All
married.
right, do you want to get married
Uh,
now?
no, it, and nowadays you got to find someone who's loyal and keep them because there's no loyalty
True.
anymore.
I'm just saying.
So if you find the right one, you may
Sure,
want to settle down now.
sure. Do you have a girlfriend?
No, I'm
Okay.
single. Not in this era. It's
Yeah.
the women are the players now. Please.
You got to swipe right. That's what I learned. Swipe
Yeah.
right. I mean, I don't I think he was 25 and I think he was having lots of sex. And I think he also like he didn't exactly come from a stable background where like his mom, he didn't have a dad to raise him. His mom was a crack addict. Like it wasn't like he had this foundational. His manager, Watani, was probably his biggest role model in that regard. And he used to call Watani's family the Cosby family. This is before he knew everything about Bill Cosby, obviously,
Hmm.
because it was, it was a husband and a wife and some kids, and they'd sit on the couch and they'd watch TV and they'd have snacks and they'd have blankets. And he definitely kind of envied that and wanted that, but I don't think at 25 he was ready for it.
Hmm. No,
A
and a
while.
lot of artists aren't. A lot of
A lot of
people.
people aren't. A
Yeah.
lot of people, I wasn't ready to get married at 25.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I read all about your stories and meeting your wife at the wedding. I did my research on you and things
Yeah.
like that, and it took you 8 months to get the number.
Yeah, that wasn't my fault though. That wasn't my fault. I tried.
No.
Yeah, but it worked out. I had two
Yeah,
kids
it did.
and a half.
See,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, but Tupac, this incredible legacy, just everything that was going on, he comes out. Why do you think? Because the Quad Studio, you said it on the record that it's not Biggie. Nothing. Biggie didn't have anything to do with it. You believe that.
Mhm.
Why do you think he built up this visceral hatred for Biggie?
I mean, number one, I think he was, I think he felt deep down that even if Biggie didn't do it per se, that how can I be in New York in your town and you didn't know it was going to happen, especially when you were right upstairs, right? How
Hmm.
could you not know? I think he was really befuddled by that. I think Tupac by nature had a little bit of I mean, certainly had paranoia in him from his mom's experiences and had some conspiracy elements in him also from his mom's experiences. And I think early on he decided it was Biggie, even though one person after another told him it wasn't Biggie, even though Biggie tried visiting him in the hospital, then tried visiting him again in prison. He just kept being fixated on this idea. And for some reason, this brainworm stuck in his head and he couldn't get rid of it. And it became a real poison for him. Like, I mean, Biggie literally said to his manager, Watani, I want to go up to Clinton and sit down with him and make it right. Now, if you were responsible for someone being shot, why would you want to go sit down with him? It doesn't even make sense.
Hmm.
So, but he just was irrational about it. Didn't make any sense.
Hmm. And what's sad is that they were good friends before that, which
Yeah,
is.
they weren't like people exaggerate the relationship. They were like friends and they
Hmm.
got along well, but I wouldn't say they were like buddy. Like they weren't like bosom buddies, but they definitely, they performed with each other a couple times. Biggie slept on his couch when he came out to California. They
Hmm.
definitely smoked weed together and shot some photos together. So yeah, they had a good relationship.
Hmm. The big cat freestyle, that was
Oh yeah, that's
yeah.
great. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that definitely one of the all-time freestyles from hip hop when
I
we
played
got.
that a lot when I was like working on this book. I would play that a lot. I had on my just on shuffle on my Tupac playlist, and every time that came up, I really like it.
Yeah, that's a top freestyle. It's just a what could have been if there was never any riff, the collaborations we could have got. Because do you think with them falling, because I look at those are the two pillars of hip hop, even though we had Nas and Jay-Z and Eminem, do you think hip hop would have turned into what it has now? Because I feel as though there would have been more accountability with the two pillars. If it wouldn't have turned into this, I know people call it mumble rap and mainstream. Hip hop has become a meme in a way, even though we
Mhm.
still have real artists that are shining through, like Kendrick Lamar that you brought up before, J. Cole. Do you feel as though that hip hop wouldn't have gone so off the cliff with some of these crazy acts like that? They're just doing it for clout.
I don't because I don't think it would have changed that much. I think they would have produced a lot of great music, but I mean, you can even go back then, right? Like, I mean, seriously, like Vanilla Ice was a huge thing. Ice Ice Baby was a huge thing. You listen to that song now and you're like, how the hell did this happen? So, like, all eras of music, Crisscross was a huge thing. They were dressing backwards in backwards clothing,
With the
like
Ewings on.
with the Ewings on and with the Knicks hat and the whole like it was goofy, right? So you look back and I mean, no disrespect to Crisscross, but it was just kind of a goofy period of hip hop. So like, I don't think Tupac and Biggie, no matter how great they were, they being alive would have prevented the music to like not go on crazy and weird directions. I think honest to God, if you think about it, like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden emerged because of all this metal, this crazy ass Warrant and Skid Row off the cliff metal. So like a lot of times music finds itself, straightens itself up, goes crazy a little bit, comes back, goes left, goes right, goes straight. So I don't think they alive would have prevented bad hip hop. I think there was bad hip hop when they were alive too.
Mhm.
Yep.
Dr. Dre wouldn't speak with you for this book that you had,
Correct.
unfortunately. And there was no tension there, even though they were producing California Love. He did California Love with him. Where did the fallout come with him and Dre?
Well, it came when Dr. Dre left Death Row.
That's when it came.
And yeah, and how much of it was like real animosity? I don't know. I mean, Tupac calls him gay ass Dre. I
That's what
believe
I was
that.
gonna. Yeah.
And he had one other. It's funny because Tupac, I was talking to a friend of his the other day, and Tupac had very few, especially for the time period, homophobic. He just didn't use homophobic language very often in his
Mhm.
music. And part of it is one of his contemporaries was a rapper named Ray Love. And he just said, coming up, we had gay friends. We had plenty of respect for gay artists. We didn't like it just wasn't who we were. So it was very kind of rare that he actually dropped something like that on someone. I mean, he was kind of just standing up for Death Row more than anything. I don't think he
Mm,
hated Dr. Dre. I don't think Dr. Dre loved that. I know that Dr. Dre didn't love that. Suge gave California Love, not only gave Tupac a verse on it, but then put it on All Eyes on Me.
with the
You know, so,
remix.
yeah. So I don't
Mm.
know. Yeah.
You could hear the hatred not only in "Hit 'Em Up" from Tupac and towards Puffy and Biggie, but did you hear the song "Die Slow" that he did that was
Yeah.
unreleased? Oh
Yeah.
man,
I mean, he rapped from the gut, man. He rapped from the
yeah.
stomach. That's just what he did. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, he rapped. It's kind of like every now and then you meet, like, as a sports writer, like you meet athletes and they're better when they play angry, right? You're better when you have a resentment towards someone. So you're Clayton Kershaw and you're on the mound and you hate Vladdy Guerrero. I'm not saying this is true.
Mhm.
Something about that really does it for you. And I feel like for Tupac, I do think he rapped at his best when he rapped angry. Like I think All Eyes on Me is kind of an angry album. And I think he rapped his best when he had like grudges and he was mad coming out of prison. He didn't think he belonged in prison. He was mad about being holed up that long. He was mad at people not bailing him out earlier. He was mad at the cops, etc. I think when he got out, that's the reason that album is so good is because he was angry, rapping.
Hmm. Yeah.
Me Against the World is not an angry album. You know,
No.
All Eyes on Me is a very angry album.
Hearts of Men. That was on. You could hear that in the beginning of Hearts of Men when I got out of jail. Like told Suge what I was gonna do. You could feel it.
I agree. I think what's the song I was just thinking of? Well, I guess I mean I the song I like the most is Shorty Wanna Be a Thug. And
Oh man.
even though it's not about him, I feel like there's a lot of him in it and like just like I don't know. Yeah, I mean the whole album is like it has an oomph to it. Some of the
It
songs aren't
does.
great, but overall, I mean it's just my opinion. But I think it has an oomph to it, like an extra dose of fuck you on it.
Oh, it does. Yeah. That whole scandalous.
Oh, Scandalous I don't like. Scandalous is one of those songs I don't love. But you know
Mm,
what I like a lot that I feel like doesn't get I like shit. Oh my God, I'm having a brain freeze. Now I have to look up the track. Why am I having a brain freeze? Not I Am Mad at You, but oh, Life Goes On. Do you know the song Life Goes On?
life goes on.
I think it's a beautiful, beautiful song that somehow almost got overshadowed by I Am Mad at You. But I've listened to like Give Me a Paper and Pen and Let Me Rap About My Life of Sin, a couple bottles of gin in case I don't get in. It's just such a beautiful sentiment. I don't know. The whole thing is, yeah, I love that
I
album.
like trading war stories too. That one.
Oh,
Oh
yeah, that's really good. Yeah, I remember listening to that a lot when it came out because you weren't even born when the stupid album came out. But
no.
like,
Yeah.
I remember when the album came out, the first song I really knew was You Wonder Why They Call You Bitch. You Wonder Why They Call You Bitch.
Yeah.
And they use that as a song that is an anti-woman song, but it actually really is an anti-woman song. It's kind of disguised as one in the title, but it's not really what people kind of thought it was. Yeah.
No, it's crazy the flips that he did, and I think to No More Pain. I think this encapsulates everything that he's going through and what you put into the book. Is that this was a guy who was really lonely. Had a lot of demons, just everything. He grew up with the poverty, and
Yeah.
even how you got into detail in the book early on with his mother. She's pregnant with him, and just how she's treated by the NYPD in
Right.
jail, and the rats on top of her, and just the poverty that they've went through, even when he after he's born. It's just
They were poor. And
lots of pain.
he was poor. He was fatherless. His mom was an addict. He lived in bad conditions over and over again. He was oftentimes fending for himself. Um, People don't like hearing it, but it's true. His first sexual experience, he was 14 years old with a cousin. His second, he was 15 with a friend of his mom. Just a lot of trauma, like
Hmm.
a lot of trauma over and over and over again. And when you listen to his music and you know about the trauma behind it, like it's interesting, like promoting this book. Like a lot of people are like, how could you possibly write about blank? Or how can you write about blank? And to me, knowing what he went through only makes the music, at least for me, significantly more powerful and impactful because you know where he's rapping from. He's not just a guy reciting lyrics. He's actually spitting out the garbage that's been this sort of junk piling up in his life. So I don't know. I kind of
Hmm.
like it. I like knowing what he went through.
Yeah. Where were you the day that Tupac was killed?
I was in the newsroom of the Nashville Tennessean where I worked.
Okay.
And I remember seeing it, being shocked, knowing no one at the Tennessean, maybe a few people, very few people knew anything about hip hop, certainly about Tupac. Can't remember how many pieces I wrote about it. I definitely wrote one about like was he still alive? Remember that was
Hmm.
a thing. Like, was he still alive? Um, it just sucked. But the truth of the matter is, like, I was 24 years old, focused on my career, trying to make it in the business. And I feel like had that happen, were that to happen now, it would hit me a lot harder than it did then. Like, I don't want to exaggerate. It was like I went home and cried. I was like, all right, what do I need to write? How do I handle this? Et cetera, et cetera. I think I was a fan of Tupac's back then, but I wasn't fully understanding of everything he went through and I don't know, the impact he had on people. So to me, it was a sad story. I feel like I didn't know enough to grieve over it. It wasn't my story to grieve over at that point in my life.
Hmm. No, he definitely the greatest of all time to do it, and definitely had an impact. You mentioned it, what if Tupac is alive? Where do you think those conspiracies really came to be? Because you had Pac still out in Cuba. Even Suge Knight was throwing that into the TMZ news feeds. Oh, he's smoking on a Cuban right now. And where do you think all these conspiracies came to where people actually believe he's still alive?
Number one, people misinterpreted Machiavelli and thought that he thought that Nico Machiavelli wrote about coming back from the dead. And then Tupac obviously has the album come out, Machiavelli. So they put that together, but it was just misguided. Number two, we're a bunch of idiots and we're bored and we come up with conspiracy theories because what else are we going to do between birth and death? So let's make up shit. Number three, he did the Life Goes On video where he comes back from the dead and he's in, or not comes back from the dead, but he's in heaven
Hmm.
with like, Miles Davis and Marvin Gaye. And oh, he predicted his own, he predicted it. And he died young, and like there are all these, no one thought he was going to die. Like he just seemed like a guy who was impenetrable. So I think when he died, there was a real, like Chuck D from Public Enemy is a very level-headed guy. He was convinced he was still alive. Level-headed people are convinced he was still alive. I can tell you factually, he's dead.
Hmm. North Carolina, the grave site.
True, which was very interesting, but
Mhm.
he's dead. He's not alive.
Yeah, it's
Sorry,
a
man. He will
yeah.
not be doing your show next week unless you get AI Tupac with Mr. Rogers.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Tupac, man, it's just one of the all-time greats, no doubt about it. This book, Only God Can Judge Me. People got to give this a read, and really, because the detail that you put into this is meticulous, and the depth, the hard work that you really,
No, I appreciate it.
yeah, you
I
put a
threw
lot
everything I
into
had
it.
in it. I did. I worked my ass off in this book. And like I always say, I can deal with criticism. I can, right? I can deal with criticism. If you told me you read the book and you didn't like it, right? I'd
Mhm.
be like, all right, you read the book. No one can put a gun to your head whether you like it or not. What kind of bothers me in these times is people being like, oh, this guy, blah, blah, blah. I'm not reading that book. It's like everyone's getting like 20-second snippets from, oh, this guy wrote about, I mean, like there was one thing, this guy wrote about Tupac wearing a dress and being trans. It was a cheerleading skirt he wore as a gag on Spirit Day in high school. Okay. That's what it was. Oh, you write about him being bisexual. He kissed a friend, a gay friend on the lips as a lark when he was in high school. Like he was a performing arts kid. He was a theater kid. And I'll tell you something else. And I don't even know how you feel about this, but I will tell you about this. I hate the freaking homophobia that I hear coming off of this. I hate it with a passion. Like you could say Tupac cut the heads off chickens for a hobby. Nobody would flinch. Even the suggestion that Tupac could have been gay. How could you say that? How dare you say that? Like, I would say, like, and I'm not saying he was gay. He wasn't gay. I don't think he was gay, right? What if he was? Like, let's say Tupac was gay. Why would that take away from his music? Why would that take away from his impact? Why would that take away from his struggle? Why would that take away from anything this guy went through? And I'm just kind of thrown aback a little bit
Mhm.
by the level of just like outrage that anyone could ever suggest, even that he kissed a boy once in high school, even that he wore a cheerleader skirt as a gag in high school. The level of anger those things cause to me is actually an indictment of character of some people. Like I was on one podcast where someone told me if my son was gay, if he told me he kissed a boy, I'd smack him around and blah blah blah. And I was like, if my son told me he was gay, I'd freaking hug him and embrace him. And
Mhm.
like I'm just really that's one thing of promoting this book. I knew it was there, but it's disappointing.
Mhm. I agree. Yeah, I think it's too much with the homophobia. It's
It's just
crazy.
ridiculous. It's
Yeah,
just
it is.
ridiculous,
It's
you know?
it's too much. It really
Also,
is.
like, you don't know, maybe your son is gay. Like maybe your son is gay. So how do you think he feels hearing you say that? Like you don't
Mhm.
know. Like that just bothers me. Like embrace your kids, embrace your friends. Doesn't matter, gay, straight, whatever. Just embrace people for who they are.
Well
Period.
said. Do
That's
you
it.
think there were some things with this Don Illuminati and just also other work that he was working on that might have gone through some Stanley Kubrick eyes wide shut type of thing? Because there's some things on Suge shot him. Are you aware of that on the
Yeah.
bomb first? Yeah. Do you think there
Yeah.
were some things there that?
No, because I'm not like you. That's not a criticism. I'm not, I'm very literal. Like I'm a
Uh-huh.
very literal human being. I'm not a, look, I hate Trump. Okay. I hate Trump.
Hmm.
I hate Trump. I think some guy shot him in Pennsylvania. I don't think like he faked it and it's really a blah, blah, blah. Like I think someone shot him and, hit his ear. Like I believe it. I think
You think
Kennedy,
someone shot the ear? Remember, it was like
I
there's nothing
understand.
there.
I understand. I think the odds are he was shot in the ear and blah, blah, blah. I'd be weird for me that they arranged this whole thing. Now, maybe they did. I think Kennedy was shot by Lee Harvey Oswald. I do.
Mm,
I think he was shot by Lee Harvey Oswald. Um, I'm just not a conspiracy guy. So generally, I take it all pretty literally. Maybe
okay.
sometimes I should be, but yeah, man.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I look at things with a hairy eyeball, not to where like Tupac's chilling on an island somewhere. I don't take it
Yeah.
that way, but I do think there's some things it's like, this doesn't seem what it really is.
The thing is with his death in particular is like I was open to other ideas.
Mhm.
I just don't see it. Like I honestly just don't see it. I don't see how there's Orlando Anderson in the lobby of the MGM Grand. Here's Tupac standing alongside Trayvon Lane. Orlando Anderson factually was involved in a chain yanking with Trayvon Lane at a mall at a Foot Locker somewhat recently. Lane says to Tupac, "That's a guy who took my chain." Tupac says, "Which guy?" "That guy right there." He goes up, he punches him. They all kick him. They leave. How could that have possibly been arranged? I'm just saying, how could
Yeah,
it be arranged that he's there? Tupac, someone tells him Tupac would have the wherewithal. Like this guy knows for a fact Tupac's going to go up and punch him, and then this guy's going to do a revenge shooting. Like, who's how is Big Brother arranging this? How's Puffy arranging it? Why, if it's Suge Knight, why would Suge literally be in the car next to Tupac when he's shot? That would have to be the worst planning ever. And Suge got shot. So,
yeah,
like,
graze. Yeah, you got there's bullets
yeah,
still there.
yeah. So, like, give me a break. I just don't buy it. I know there are people who disagree with me. It's totally fine. I just don't personally, I don't buy it.
Hmm. Why do you think it took so long for Keefe D to get arraigned and arrested? Because he was on all these interviews saying that, yeah, I was a part of this. I was the shots came from the back and just boasting about it everywhere.
First of all, that guy is America's biggest idiot. I mean, there's no close second. Pick anyone you want. He's the biggest idiot of all time. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to indict myself in one of the most famous killings of all time. Isn't that a great idea? No one's
No.
going to notice. I'm just going to write a book about it, and then I'll go on these art of the dialogue, and they'll pay me $5,000 or whatever. That's a great idea. I'm going to do that.
Mhm.
Fucking stupid. Why did it take so long? I honestly don't know. I
Mhm.
don't have a great answer for you. I don't know. It's confusing. To me, it's a very obvious situation. Um, the investigators you talk to all believe from the beginning it was Greg Orlando Anderson.
Mhm.
Like it wasn't a great
You talked
mystery
with Greg
around it.
Kading.
I did. Greg
Mhm.
Kading, very informed, very interesting. Basically feels the same way. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't have a great answer. One
Mhm.
thing I think it's important to do when you're a journalist is admit when you don't know an answer and not
Mhm.
just BS it. I'm confused by it too. It's confusing to me.
Yeah, it is, and that's important. It's journalism, like you said. You got to lay it all out there and just not BS it, because then it's not journalism because you're giving a false answer or a
Correct.
false narrative. Yeah, and I
100%.
I 100% agree with you on that. What's something from this book now? Because now you're into the hip hop world. You've been out there with the main guy that was in Marin City. You've been doing your research and going out there and hanging out with actual guys who are on the streets and the main guys out there in the drug scene. Are you intrigued to do another hip hop piece now? Is there something because here's the main thing I'm gonna go with this, and it's related to Tupac. It's around the same time, a year later. Who killed Biggie Smalls?
That's not for me. I don't think
That's
that's
not
for
for
me.
you.
I'll also be honest with you. I'm being serious about this. I think, okay, I don't know if you get this in your world, but I do think like I knew there would be a lot of complications, me being the author of this book. I
Hmm.
knew. I wasn't dumb. I was aware from the beginning. I think like I wrote this book because I was waiting for this book. Like I was waiting for the great Tupac biography. I'm not saying this is great or not great, but I was waiting for the great Tupac biography. I thought Kevin Powell was going to write it. He never wrote it. There are different artists who could have, different writers who could have done it. They never did it. It's a book I wanted to read, so I decided to do it. I think for a lot of people in hip hop, I think for a lot of black men and women, um, me writing this book is not cool. I
Hmm.
do. I think that's been made very clear to me if you see my DMs and stuff like that. I'm glad I did this book. I'm proud of this book. I think it's I think it I think it's a well-researched book. I don't need to like I just love writing and I love reporting. And it has to be something that genuinely fascinates me, right? And Tupac genuinely fascinated me.
Fascinating.
The murder of Biggie isn't really on my radar. So it
Mm,
wouldn't be me, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
And this all came to Garth Brooks played an inspiration with this as well, which is crazy because it's country music. But yeah, you.
I don't even like country music, but he did a rock album called The Greatest Hits of Chris Gaines. It was kind of a lark from like 25 years ago. And he caught a lot of shit for it. Same way you brought up Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan quit basketball, played baseball, hit 202 in double A, which I thought was kind of amazing. He hadn't played baseball since high school. Double A is no joke. Hitting 202 with some pop is something he got shit on for it. And I just always found inspiration. I'm not comparing myself to them at all, but I always found inspiration in people trying things that are outside their box. And writing a Tupac book was way outside my box, you know? So I'm glad I did it. And I would encourage other people, like other writers, like try things. I'm a sports writer. I know I'm a sports writer. It's what I do most of the time. I don't have to only do that. And I think everyone should try. You say you don't listen to country. Maybe listen to some country. Maybe you'll like it. You know, like it's always good to try different things and break out of your cell a little bit, you know?
No, it is. And you've done a lot of books. Sweetness, you covered Walter Payton, Bo Jackson, Last Folk Hero, Gunsling. I don't know. Brett Favre is a very touchy subject. I know you didn't interview him for the book, but he's a
No, he's
touchy
terrible.
subject.
He's horrible. But his family was great. Yeah, it's weird. His family, almost his entire family talked to me, but he didn't. Um, that book came out before the Mississippi welfare
Hmm.
scandal. And I'm not, that's not my guy. You don't always write books. I wrote a book about Barry Bonds. Barry
Hmm.
Bonds was no pleasure for me to deal with. I wrote a book about Roger Clemens. Same. Favre, welfare scandal. Not everyone you're writing about is admirable. You know,
Hmm.
sometimes you just write about interesting figures. In fact, oftentimes the most interesting people are the most complex people, including Tupac, actually.
Hmm. Three Ring Circus. You got to write about Kobe, Shaq,
Yeah.
and especially with the Showtime Lakers. And you went on to go with Winning Time. And there's some other series that you want to do with because Winning Time was such a success. It's unfortunate why they didn't bring it back because it was loved.
Yeah.
I interviewed Eric Nenninger from Showtime with Winning Time.
Yeah.
And I think this was a series that should have continued. Is there any other series now that you've been involved in the TV space that you'd love to get into?
I mean, it was the greatest run of my life. It was
Yeah.
insane. They pay you, you get to be in the show, your kids get to be in the show. You go to a kick-ass party, you're on a Hollywood set, the food is free, like the parking, it's like the greatest thing in my life. So like, yes, of course, but it's like it's very, very rare. Like that was like a golden moment for me and my family, like an
Hmm.
absolute golden moment and a dream come true. And I was sad when it got canceled too, but it was out of my control. And as I've always said to anyone who asks, nobody wants to hear you complain about only having two seasons of an HBO show. You know what I mean? Like it's not, I was lucky I had two seasons of an HBO show.
Yeah.
So it
And it
was
was
cool.
successful. It was
Sure, sure. It was an HBO show. Put my
yeah.
kids through college, you know, it was good. You know, yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot here. Being that you were originally with the Mets, Nets, Jets out
yeah.
there, you also like the Mariners. There's some stories there from those teams. You did one the with the Mets. You did the Mets book in the '86 Mets. Yep, the bad guys won.
Literally on my desk. Someone sent it to me today to sign. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that was the big one from the '86 Mets. Have you thought about doing anything about Petrovic, being that you're a Nets fan? Because I feel as though he doesn't get enough praise as he should.
It's not a book. Like how many people do you know who are buying a Drazen Petrovic book? I'm just being honest. Like
Hmm.
it's probably not a book. There's a difference between a book and a cool story.
Hmm.
Drazen Petrovic is a really sad, heartbreaking story. I remember vividly learning that he died in a car accident, but I don't think that sells many copies. I'm just being honest.
Hmm.
So no.
Yeah. You got to talk about the curse of the Jets in a book. How about that? That could, because there's so many
Not the worst
stories.
idea. It would be fun to shit all over my own team. And being a Jet fan, I mean, as we said at the beginning, being a Jet fan, you might as well hit me in the head with a hammer 40 times. It'd probably be more pleasurable than watching the Jets play football. I
Yeah.
mean, it's so bad.
It's the storylines that come with this team. I mean, you have the sex scandal, Mark Sanchez with the whole Uber driver deliver. It's never ending.
There's never
Do you think
Geno
it changes
Smith.
if Woody Johnson sells the team?
No, because it's never changing.
Hmm.
It's not, I don't care if like God buys a team and puts Jesus in the general manager. It's not changing. It's never changing. I don't care if tomorrow Mahomes becomes a Jet. The day Patrick Mahomes signs with the Jets is the day Patrick Mahomes turns into Josh Rosen. Like it's just It can't be. It cannot be. It's not allowed. We cannot have nice things. The Jets
Yeah.
cannot have nice things.
You're a big Kenny O'Brien, Wesley Walker fan. That was some of your favorite athletes growing up. Yeah,
That is
Kenny
true.
O'Brien underrated. I know the Jet fan base wanted Dan Marino, who wouldn't, but Kenny O'Brien is very overlooked, though. I will say that he's overlooked.
Yeah, Ken O'Brien was excellent,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter. Of course, we picked Ken O'Brien instead of Dan Marino. We picked Altoon instead of Jerry Rice. I mean, like, it is what it is. It's just they picked Kyle Brady instead of Warren Sapp, like over and over and over and over. It's just I wouldn't even know what to do if they started winning. Like if they made a Super Bowl, I wouldn't even know what to do. I would be very confused by it. I'd say, someone wake me up from this weird dream because this is
Mhm.
not. Yeah, it just sucks.
It does. I mean, can you believe that they actually went to two AFC championships back to
No.
back? It's insane.
Can I tell you how I became a Jet fan?
How did you become a Jet fan?
I was a little kid, Mayo Pack, New York. My brother David is 2 years older than me. This is a true story. We're at the kitchen table. I think I was maybe 6 or 7 at most. My brother one day announces he's going to be a Giants fan. And I say, okay, I'll be a Jet fan. All right. My brother David is 55 years old now. If Lawrence Taylor or Eli Manning knocked on his door and literally said to him, "Hi, I am Eli Manning. Hi, I am Lawrence Taylor," he would have no idea who they are. He has not watched a Giant game. Meanwhile, because of that singular moment in time, I am left with this shit stain on my life. True story. If he had said I'm a Jets fan, I would have been a Giants fan. I would have had 4 Super Bowls in my life. No, no. Jackson Dart would be the future of my franchise. No, we got Justin Fields playing out the cycle. It's just great.
Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn is a coach.
Just wonderful. Everything's great.
He's a
Super
good
happy.
corner, not a good head
I
coach
mean,
though.
maybe you got to give him some time. Maybe it'll work out. I don't know.
I'm
I don't.
hoping.
He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
don't know if that's the I don't know. The nice guys finish last. I don't know.
it doesn't even matter with the Jets. Everybody finishes last. You don't have to be nice. You can be a dick. As
Yeah.
long as you put on the green and white, you will finish in last.
Yeah. How about all the fans they wanted Rex Ryan back?
That was terrible. That was ridiculous. Rex Ryan is basically the Trump of NFL,
Yeah, he
where
is.
a lot of bluster. He's going to tell you how great he is, but you look at the results and you're like, no, this guy kind of sucks. He didn't really know what he was doing. He already had a shot. He's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I
Worst
have no
pick.
beef with that guy, but come on.
Yeah. Worst pick I ever seen the Jets make was Christian Hackenberg in my lifetime. That's the worst. Ugh.
Second round pick,
Yeah.
a quarterback who nobody else was interested in. That's so Jet. I mean, that is very Jet. That's a good one. I was trying to think of his name the other day. Did he even throw a pass for the Jets? I don't even know if he
He
threw a
he
pass for
had
the Jets.
negative yardage in preseason, and that was it. We never saw him again.
I'm sure some Jet scout was like, this guy has a big arm and blah, blah, blah. And they watched game tape of Penn State beating like Youngstown State in the first game of the year, and he's lighting it up. And that's my worst was back in the day, they drafted this guy, Jeff Loggeman, first round draft pick. And Jeff Loggeman actually wound up having a good NFL career.
Hmm.
But nobody else had him on their board till like the fourth round. But the Jets took him in the first round. That's the most Jet thing ever. They'll always take like a guy who they could have taken earlier
Hmm.
because they like him. They also drafted Blair Thomas instead of Emmett Smith, but I can't kill them for that because Blair Thomas was everybody's consensus #2 pick in the draft. So
Hmm. Can't kill him there. And you got the Titan hat on.
only because I knew someone back in the day who worked for the Titans. I was taking a nap before this, and I like sleeping in a winter hat, so I had this. I got this hat for free years
Oh,
ago.
maybe representing for Steve McNair. Rest in peace.
Yeah, they got Steve McNair, and I used to live in Nashville, so.
Yeah. And then you went to Newsday.
Well, I went from the Tennessee to Sports Illustrated to Newsday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the reason? Because you were ESPN. So what was kind of the reason of you? Because you did your own thing with the quads. You had your own thing
I've
that
done a
you're
lot of
doing.
things in
Yeah.
ESPN.
So it was it because when you left the networks, it was more of freedom and content control. What you wanted to do was it your own interests?
No, so I was at started my career at the Nashville Tennessean, went
Hmm.
to Sports Illustrated, which is my dream job, became a baseball writer, got kind of tired of baseball, took a job at a newspaper in Long Island called Newsday back in the day when newspapers were still pretty good. And my job was to roam the streets of New York City and write magazine length stories just about people I found, which was
Hmm.
the best thing ever. Newspaper started going to shit, decided I'd write books full time. While I was writing books full time, I did columns for ESPN.com, but I never was a TV guy ever in my life. I've appeared on TV a bunch of times, but I never worked for ESPN as a network. So through the years, I was a columnist for The Athletic, for Yahoo, for ESPN, for CNN, but mainly it's been books for the last 20 years.
You got the big break with the sports, especially with John Rucker, the whole racist thing, and
Yeah, he
oof.
was a good guy. He was great. He's a dick. He still thinks Michelle Obama has a penis. He still
Yeah.
is on that train. Yeah.
Nice
Yeah.
Braves pitcher. Unbelievable. I'm a
He's
Mets
gonna
fan too,
come.
so we have that. I'm a Mets fan, so we have
Yeah,
that in
Rocker,
common.
you miss Rocker as a douchebag, but he was special. He should come to my house for Hanukkah. He's always welcome at Hanukkah at the Pearlman household, but I don't think he'll be coming. It's the worst.
What a jerk. Yeah, that guy is just, yeah, lots of baseball. You've been on record saying that they're the worst, being in these clubhouses. They were the worst before pre-phones. They were just horrible.
I mean, there were a lot of great baseball players, but being a baseball writer was very difficult because
Hmm.
it's just awkward. You have a lot of time in the clubhouse. The players don't want you there. You don't even really want to be there, but you do what you can. You get farted on a lot. You get mocked a lot. You get, beaten around a lot, but kind of came with the job. It taught me, gave me some thick skin, which is important.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think baseball players were the worst out of all athletes?
Um, I think they tended to be pretty sheltered kids. It
Hmm.
was a largely white rural sport. I think NBA, which traditionally NBA was the best.
Hmm.
Thought the most of the athletes in the NBA at least have some college behind them, so they get
Actually,
exposed
yeah.
to different
Hmm.
people. Um, and I think baseball, I don't know, like if you meet little league parents, they're not very fun to deal with, and a lot of these guys are offshoots of the parent who's screaming at them to take more cuts after school. And like, I don't know, they're just kind of not all of them. I met a lot of great baseball players, and there
Yeah.
were dickheads who were basketball players. But generally, for my rankings, here we go: NBA, NHL, NFL, baseball. Baseball the worst as far as players to deal with.
I know there were some things too. I was reading online, and it's unfortunate. There's some things there with Stephen A. Smith back in the day. I heard about. I don't know. Yeah, it was.
No, not really. Stephen A. Smith is a survivor in this business, which is hard to do, and he's thrived in this business.
Mhm.
I see it. I'm 53. Like as you get older, it gets harder. I don't love like I don't love the Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith argue about everything, even if
It's
you don't
annoying.
really
The
care.
shouting, the screaming. Yeah.
Yeah, hot takes. I don't like hot takes. And he's been kind of the godfather, him and Skip, of hot takes. I do not love hot takes. So I grew up with an ESPN that was Ralph Wiley and Jeremy Schaap and sort of sports reporters and talking it out. And it's been replaced by Skip and Stephen A. and whoever screaming at each other over stuff they don't give a shit about. I know they don't give a shit about. You don't really care whether the Nets start whoever at point guard. You don't care. So I don't like that. But it's nothing. I don't have anything against Stephen A. Smith. He's had a great career.
Yeah.
I respect it.
No, 100%. And just everything that you've got going for yourself with this book. Only God Can Judge Me, The Many Lives of Tupac Shakur.
Hmm?
And you've really broken it down all to detail. I could say that
I appreciate it.
you did so many interviews with this, and I do agree with you on the journalistic perspective. Just everything you unleashed into this book, and when you look at with doing all these interviews, a lot of times people are like, "How much can they pay you for interviews?" And I've heard you say on record you've never paid anyone for an interview, and that's so important because there's so many people out there that are paying these guys for interviews. I'm not going to name one of them. He basically works for the feds. You can read, who I'm probably talking about. White guy. His name starts with a V,
Yeah,
and he's one of the biggest vultures I've ever seen in my life. But they pay these guys lots of money, and it messes it up for other journalists.
of course. Now, I can't blame like Billy Garland is Tupac's birth father.
Mhm.
If someone's coming to Billy Garland and say we're going to pay you $10,000, I can't blame Billy Garland for it. He
Yeah,
doesn't owe me anything or them anything. Good for him for making the money. It does make it hard journalistically because people start asking. I was warned early on with this book, like people are going to ask you for money. It wasn't as bad as I thought, actually. Like it definitely happened, but it wasn't that bad. When you explain, look, man, I'm a journalist. I can't pay. I can take you for breakfast. We can
yeah.
go have lunch. I'll pay for your coffee. And I think when I showed people sort of my resume and what I worked on, again, I find it weird that I'm getting bashed by people who literally pay for interviews. Like I didn't pay for shit, man. I didn't pay for anything. Everyone I interviewed directly with the understanding this is a journalistic endeavor. I'm not paying you. And look, yeah, everyone has a right to do what they want. Everyone has a right to earn money as they want. I harbor no beef, but this was a hard book.
Yeah.
It was a hard book.
How many years it was this now? Like
About three.
3 years? Man,
Yeah.
400 pages, over 400 pages. Yeah.
Yeah. Not easy writing and
No.
reporting, but it's a great job to have. I'm lucky to have it. I love writing. I've had a very fortunate career. I've had a lot of great opportunities. So it was an honor to write this book. No matter what happens, honest to God, it was a great experience for me, a learning experience for me. So I got
Mhm.
I walk away from this with a very positive outlook toward it.
Mhm. With the research you've done, because I know it's going crazy, I'm sure you've been paying attention to all the mass appeal releases this year with Mobb Deep's new album and Big L. It's been going crazy. Do you think that we're going to get some posthumous Tupac music? Because I mean, we've gotten so many, but do you
Oh,
think
so
there's some more
much.
stuff in the vault?
I mean, I know DJ Darrow has some unreleased stuff that they did from the second album. I guess he could release it. I know the estate. I'm sure the problem is like you haven't the Shakur estate. I'm not bashing them, but
Hmm.
I'm saying technically, if Tupac created the music, they actually own it, even if it's someone else's vault. Um, they technically own it. So I think it gets complicated releasing stuff for profit, and somehow working around the estate or with the estate. So I don't know. I'm sure you're going to get a lot of AI stuff like Drake did, not garbage, but you know,
Well, I guess that says what you feel about Drake.
I don't even care about Drake, but I just thought that was it's just gimmicky. Like I liked what Kendrick Lamar did at the end of Mortal Man. I thought that was actually cool when he
Mhm.
did the interview with Tupac, but that was respectful. I think what Drake did was just garbage. I did not like that at all. And I
Garbage.
hate what I hate the most. I hate the AI videos. I
I
hate
don't
the
like them
AI.
either.
I know they're funny. I get they're humorous. I get they're this and that. I think it's disrespectful not just to Tupac, but to his family. Like, imagine if someone you love died, and all of a sudden people start creating videos of that person saying stuff they would never say, behaving in ways they wouldn't behave. Like, how would you feel? So now his sister and his aunt and his cousins all have to see this stuff, and it's not real. I
Mhm.
don't like it.
And it was such an honor. I wanted to mention this with the coverage of the book. Speaking with Set, that was because she doesn't speak to a lot of people, and
No,
that was really
yeah,
meaningful.
very much so. And yeah, she does, and she also does not like the spotlight at all.
Hmm.
So, but it was great speaking with her. It was an honor.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, hopefully, I'm telling you, what are you looking to do with this book? I mean, obviously, you want to keep it charting, keeping it selling, keeping it up there on the list. But what are some things that you have some ideas in the back of your head? Maybe pitching this as like a mini series, something. Is there something that you want to do, take things further with this?
You're gonna hate this answer, but not really. Once I write a book, I kind of just I add it to the vault and I move on. If someone comes up to me and wants to option it, I always talk about it. It's great. But to me, like Tupac, the research, the writing, it was a hyper specific 3 year period in my life. And then, I mean, it's kind of like even like this book. This is my first book. I think about it in the way I think about something that was cool in my past, but you kind of you have to move on to the next subject. For me personally, that's the best way I do it. So I don't sit there and think, oh, now what I really want to do is blank. What I really want to do is blank. I hope, if anything, I hope someone cooperates with Davon, who is the Brenda's baby and does a documentary. And I hope Davon gets money out of it. That would be great for me. Um, but upwards and onwards.
Mhm.
Next.
You brought I saw you pick up the Met book before and just now. What were your thoughts on this? Because this is a troubling story with the whole Doc Gooden, Daryl Boston case from back in the day.
Oh, yeah, that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
That wasn't really in the book. I don't even remember what happened. Was that sexual assault?
Yeah,
Or
there
what?
was something that went on with that back
Yeah, I
in the
don't
day.
remember. I'm just being honest. I don't remember the details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was like, wow, that's like never talked about. And, I'm a Mets fan, but from a journalistic perspective, it's you kind of got to mention it.
I mean, do I? I mean, it didn't happen in 1986, and like
Yeah. Well,
I
no,
don't
I'm
remember
not
anything
talking about it
about.
from your perspective of the book because it's about the '86 Mets from that year. But I'm talking about afterwards when people just don't bring that up. It's like it's in the
But I don't
background. But
know, man.
Kobe, because I've heard you speak about Kobe, but that case comes up more than that story from the Mets.
I know, but nobody's really talking about Darryl Boston's legacy as a New York Met outfielder, or even
No.
Goodner Strawberry. Kobe is a legacy player, so people bring it up because it was part of his legacy. But
Hmm.
I don't think we have to talk about Darryl Boston's. I don't even know what happened with it, but to me, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
So, marginal major league outfielder from long ago.
Yeah,
We all
it
know
did
that.
happen a while ago.
Yeah.
Did you notice too? Because this is something that haunts me with Tupac is that receives a lot of hate still, even on social media and in depth. Why do you think that is, and where that kind of stems from? Why he has so many haters?
Good question. I think people are bored with their lives and look to shit on other people.
Hmm.
I mean, Tupac was factually a great artist. He
Yeah.
doesn't have to be your taste of an artist. I wasn't an enormous, like, I'm not an enormous Eminem fan. I'm just not, right? I'm not going to sit around and shit on him. The guy's had an amazing career, right?
Hmm.
I don't always love everything Jay-Z does. I still have a lot of respect for him. Like, I still think he's a great artist. People just like, I feel like it's the biggest in a way, it's the biggest like drawback of being someone who creates publicly. I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking in general. People are always just anxious to shit on you. And most of the times, the people who are shitting on you are not creative at all. It's the people who aren't creative who are shitting all over Tupac. And, oh, he did this, you did that. Say what you want. The guy was a great creator. He was a great mind. He had a lot of interesting thoughts that they put on paper. So I don't know. People are
Mhm.
bored.
I think it's my issue was that, and even like with artists within the hip hop community, they discredit him as a lyricist. That's the thing that I don't get. They're like, oh, Pac wasn't really lyrical. He was offbeat. That's the thing that really gets me because it's like Tupac was a poet. That's the thing. He was a poet where he's not going to be like a Busta Rhymes or a Black Thought. He was very lyrical, but just more poetic.
Also, to be honest with you, like, I think I'm getting older. I mean, I'm like double your age. So maybe it's like you get older. Like, who gives a crap? What I mean is, like, who cares if people don't like Tupac or want to debate Tupac or think the 86 Mets suck or think Taylor Swift is amazing or whatever? Like, at the end of the day, who gives a shit? I'm actually being serious. Like, who
Yeah.
cares? Tupac is gone. He has his legacy. You either love him or you hate him. That's cool. If you want to talk about him, you want to shit all over him, it's fine. Who cares? Like we're just a bored species sometimes and we try to find things to entertain ourselves, which I understand. But at the end of the day, man, his legacy is pretty secure. He's one of the great hip hop artists of all time. He was a beautiful poet, like you said. He had his highs, he had his lows, he had his not proud moments, he had his proud moments. But the guy at the end of the day was a warrior. Like that's the thing. Was he a gangbanger? No. Was he
Mhm.
a warrior? Yes. Did he believe very strongly in standing up for people? Yes. Was he particularly interested in helping his fellow black men and women rise up against racism and sort of hatred in this country? 1,000,000%. It's a fucking great legacy. So
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't like Hit 'em Up or I don't like I Get Around. Like, who cares? It's a song. You don't have to like it. Nobody's holding. I don't like half of Taylor Swift's catalog. I still admire her writing talent and
Mhm.
what she's accomplished. So who cares?
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. And with the Suge Knight, because Suge Knight was bringing the car on set. Everything was a lease. Everything was all for the
Sure.
future. He was working into what he was owing for getting him out of jail with the records, bringing the car to the movie set, and then being like, I don't own this, and things like that. And then him potentially he wanted to leave Death Row, and then Suge's like, all right, let's take Death Row East. There were also some things in the book too with wanting to make amends with some of these artists from the East Coast. I wanted
Right.
to bring that into people who may not have checked out the book yet about the artists you want to make amends with. You've heard beefs with Nas, with
Yeah. Well, he
Mobb
made
Deep.
peace with Nas.
Yeah.
Um, there was a whole Death Row East thing. Man, I don't know. I think Tupac, like, I just think, again, like you, Tupac was 25 years old. You don't always know what you're doing at 25. Tupac also happened to be incredibly impulsive. He just was. And like, he would buy into stuff, then he would squash it. He would buy into stuff, and then he would squash it. Oh, Nas, fuck you, Nas, blah, blah, blah. All right, we're good. Like, we're
Mm.
good. I just think, like, at the end, even like if you look at when Snoop and Dr. Dr no, excuse me, Snoop and Tupac presented at an award show. In fact, it was the one where where he made peace with Nas afterwards at Bryant Park in New York
Mhm.
City. Um, and like they're interviewed about East West, and Snoop and Tupac are starting to say, you know what, it's not as big a deal as people think. It's just we can all do better. I just think he was impulsive, and like, do I think at age if he were alive now at age 54, he'd still be talking shit about like Puffy and Biggie? Yeah, maybe Puffy, but like overall, no. I think he would have grown up. I think he would have won some Academy Awards. I think he would have had a nice career. And we'd be talking about 54-year-old Tupac. I just think a lot of it was like the bluster of youth, which is
Mhm.
fine. Young
Even with
people have a lot of bluster.
Jay-Z too, you had problems with Jay-Z too.
But it wasn't real, man. It
Mhm.
wasn't real. Like it was, yeah, I mean, it was just the East-West nonsense of it all. He barely knew Jay-Z. It was just kind of silly in hindsight, in my opinion. What do I
Mhm. No, but that's Tupac's legacy, the greatest of all time in my eyes, and I'm sure a lot of people's eyes as well. So, how are you gonna remember Tupac now that you've been so in deep for this for so many years or 400 pages? How are you gonna remember Tupac?
I mean, number one, I'm going to remember him as the guy who kept me up nights for 3 years. How hard this was. But mostly, I think what I like to think of truly is Tupac with the butterfly, with the ladybug. I like
Mm,
Tupac in
that quote.
Baltimore. I like Tupac at the Baltimore School for the Arts. This like loving, theatrical, creative mind, writing love letters to his white communist girlfriend, hanging out with his pals, writing raps, MC New York, spray paint on his jeans, showing up at school with a baby bottle, drinking water out of it. I love that Tupac. Like I do. I feel like when the world was his oyster and he just saw all these possibilities before he got ripped away to Marin City, before life became even harder. It was always hard, but even before it became harder, he was this beautiful, creative soul, man. So when I think of Tupac at the end of the day, I'm not just saying this. First and foremost, I think of the beautiful, creative soul who I really got to know as a student at the Baltimore School for the Arts. It's my favorite Tupac by far.
Hmm. Yeah. And it's unfortunate with the festival, with the incident with the 5-year-old.
Yes.
That definitely
Sick.
haunted him. I could tell, even with reading through the book, it haunted him.
Definitely. I mean, he
Hmm.
felt partially responsible. He was partially responsible
Hmm.
for the death of a 6-year-old kid. So certainly haunted him for a long time.
Yeah. No, but Tupac, one of the greatest of all time. Jeff, I want to thank you for coming on the show, man. I had a great time speaking with you and just reading your book. You
Yeah, thank you for
definitely,
having me on, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for
yeah.
asking good questions.
Oh, thank you. And thank you to your manager for setting this up too. Can't forget about Audra.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Autism is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
Jeff, and you're always welcome on the show anytime you need any press.
all
You're
right.
always welcome here. Make sure people go check out this book, Only God Can Judge Me, The Many Lives of Tupac Shakur. And they can follow you on Instagram at Jeff_Pearlman. That's where they could.
I think so. I'm bigger on TikTok these days. Jeff Pearlman, author. Who knows why? I don't know. But yeah.
Okay. How about X? Do you have X? I think
Oh, no.
no.
Sorry, man. Couldn't do it.
No Elon Musk.
Oh, I was on for years and the stuff was just like it was like injecting poison into my veins. I had to stop. Healthiest day of my life was leaving Twitter, I swear to God. Yeah, I'm
Hey,
not saying you're wrong for it. I'm saying for me personally, it was just too much. I did not enjoy it. So yeah.
no, I don't
Yeah.
blame you. Yeah.
But thank you for having me on. I very much appreciate it.
Of course, Jeff. You're always welcome on the show. Thank you again. Thank you for covering a hip hop icon. I
All right,
appreciate it.
man.
Appreciate
All
all
right.
your work journalistically and in sports because we got into it. You did a lot for sports.
Let's go Jets.
Yeah.
Woo.
Jets, Jets, Jets,
Yeah. Mess,
Jets.
mess, mess. Yeah.
All
All
right,
right.
Jeff. Take
Good
care.
seeing
Enjoy the
you.
rest of your night.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye bye.